Is that Raid Raptors entering into the fray? We have BS as well. Man, locals are wild out here. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. Oh boy. Raid Raptors back at it again with Extenderville, a Samorg package. Yeah, there's a lot to kind of unpack with this deck. So we have one copy of Curtain Riser, free level 4. We have one Dinotherium. We have one copy of Pudding Soucior. Triple copies of Raider's Wing. One copy of the Mimicry Lanius. One Singing Lanius. Triple copies of Strange Lanius. One Tribute Lanius. One Rocket Caliber. One Rocket Recharger. One Rocket Tracer. Triple copies of Samorg of Bird of Perfection. We have one Silent Boots. One Adjuster. One Time Thief Bezel Ship. Triple Regulator, and triple copies of Time Thief Winder. Then we have triple Lord Darkness for draw power, one Boot Sector, one Called by the Grave, triple Dark Willow No More, one Foolish Barrel, triple Quick Launch, one Rank Up Magic Skip Force, one Rank Up Magic Launch, and then we have one Shade Brigade, and the one Retrograde. Extra here we have one Rusty Tin Can, one Striker Dragon, two copies of Vice Strix, one Time Thief Redoer, one Ultimate Falcon with one Stranger Falcon, one Force Strix, one Arsenal Falcon with two Raiders Knights, one Gaga 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 Magician, one Evil Knight, or Evil Swarm Nightmare, one Caliuga, one Arc Rebellion. Then we have triple copies of Alpha, triple copies of DD Crow, one Pankratops, triple Ghost Ogre, triple Cosmic Cyclone, one Harvey's Feather Duster, and one copy of Red Reboot here, wrapping up your take for, I would say, one of the more interesting little toolbox decks that's currently floating around out here. Next up is BES. Now, side deck was never shown in the video, and the rest of the extra deck is just standard X-Strav targets in order to do the thing. But I do like the fact that we continue to see a turnover here for BES. Like, Boss Rush is always going to be one of those cool decks that will always just pop up out of nowhere. You kind of got to take a step back when you look at this deck and go, you know, is it consistent? Yeah, it is. I mean, obviously, something like Mystic Mind to slow down this deck while, you know, you're capitalizing on your big ships will get you some free wins out there. So we have two copies of Big Core, two copies of the Big Core Mach 2, triple copies of Big Core Mach 3, and then we have the Blaster Cannon Core itself. Then we have two copies of BES Cover Core, two copies of Crystal Core, two copies of the Tetran, and then we have good old triple copies of Planet Pathfinder. Now we have triple copies of Zelos, then we have triple Boss Rush. Alright, remember this is still the heart and soul of the deck. We have triple copies of Darkhole, triple copies of Demise and the Lamb, one Droplet, one Mystic Mine, triple copies of Pot of Extravagance, one Terraforming, and triple copies of Torrential Tribute. And then just triple copies of Barricade Borg Blocker here, kind of filling in the rest of the space. So, BES, a Boss Rush, getting the chance to do something. Is that cool? Yes. Yes, it is, in my personal opinion, alright? So, next up here, this was out of Egypt. Yes, they do play Yu-Gi-Oh! In other parts of the world, and I find a lot of people find that very weird. This ended up playing or getting third place out of its event, which, to be honest with you, I'm glad to see True Draco getting a chance to see some love out here. Obviously, Amano Awato is a heck of a card, ladies and gentlemen. So, no Mystic Minds in this build, by the way. So we have triple copies of Amano Awato, two copies of Dynamite, triple copies of Ignis Heat, two copies of the Old Majesty Maiden. Then we have one Called by the Grave, one card Demise, triple copies of Disciples, one copy of Domain, one copy of Dragonic Diagram, triple copies of Pantheism, triple copies of Pot of Duality. Then we have the one set rotation, one Terraforming, triple copies of the Monarch Storm's Forth, triple copies of Heritage, because still best draw power. We have triple copies of Skill Drain, because why would you not be playing the best cards for your deck? Triple copies of There Can Only Be One, triple Apocalypse, and only one Return here. Nothing in the extra deck as because this card requires you not to be able to have an extra deck. Then we have triple Big Balls, triple copies of Raigeki, triple copies of Strike of the Monarchs, one Metaverse, two Rivalry, and triple copies of everybody's favorite Solemn Judgment Man, wrapping up your particular True Draco list. Like I said, this came out of Egypt. I randomly stumbled across a store from Egypt that was actually running events. I was like, this is really cool. We can take a snapshot into another part of the world and see how things are functionally working there. And info like this, I think is really, really cool. Next up here is Marincess. This actually ended up getting first place out of its local here. Now, Marincess is definitely one of those interesting decks that, showed up last format. A lot of people were like, oh my gosh, and then, Sprite took over, and then we're right back to the Rogue category. So we have triple copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, triple copies of Dee Craw, triple copies of Effect Veiler, we have triple copies of the Blue Tang, 2 copies of Pascalis, triple copies of Seahorse, we have 1 Sleepy Maiden, triple copies of Spring Girl, 1 Called by the Grave, we have triple Signet Mining with 2 copies of Forbidden Droplet, 1 Battle Ocean, 2 copies of Dive, 2 copies of Pod Desires, triple Tactics Talents, triple copies of Imperm, and 2 copies of the Wave. And then the extra deck here, we have 1 Splash Splash, because still best card, 2 copies of Sea Angel, 1 Marbled Rock, 1 Bubbled Reef, 1 Coral Triangle with 2 Coral Anemones, 2 copies of the Blue Slug, 1 Aqua Argonaut, 1 Gentle, 1 Totally Awesome, 1 Stealth Kraken, and 1 Bahamut Shark. Then we have 1 Pinkertops, triple copies of Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, triple copies of Gamma, 1 copy of Driver, triple copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 1 Harpies for the Duster, and triple copies of Goes in Match here. Yes, Goes in Match. Not seeing play in the main deck, but seeing play in the side deck here. Wrapping up our particular Marincess variant. And I do like the fact that this deck does get the chance to have talents built into it, so you can kind of take advantage of the power. Like, trust me on talents this format, it's seeing a lot more play, and it's definitely a very devastating card once you see it resolve. Eldritch! But, instead of doing, shenanigans with, Lord of the Heavenly Sky Prison, I feel like Lord of the Heavenly Sky Prison's definitely taken that back seat this format. And while it looked like it was a very good card, which, don't get me wrong, it was excellent, alright? Like, it was a fantastic card. Just the branded Eldritch package in general for this build, and pretty much all builds here, has stabilized and told me that that's what you want to see here. So we have 1 copy of Awoober, the Jester of Despia, 2 copies of Eldritch the Golden Lord, 2 copies of Fallen of Albaz, we have 1 Necro Banshee, triple copies of Branded Fusion, we have 1 Call by the Grave, 2 copies of Cursed Eldland, triple copies of Pot of Extravagance, we have 1 Zombie World, then we have triple copies of Conch, triple copies of Dimensional Barrier, triple copies of Yield Scarlet Sanguine, 2 copies of Haguaro, 2 copies of Ice Dragon's Prisons. Then we have triple copies of Rivalry of the Warlords, triple Skill Drain, triple Solemn Strike, triple copies of There Can Only Be One. Then we have 1 Vampire Sucker, 1 Lina, 1 Link Spider, 1 Imduke with 1 Dehark. Then we have 1 Gustav Max, 1 Titaniclad, triple Mirjade, 2 Lubellion, and triple Albion. And then inside deck here we have triple Ghost Sister Spooky Dogwood, triple Lava Golem, 2 Anti-Spell Fragrance, 1 Golden Land Forever, 1 Red Reboot, triple copies of Solemn Judgment, and 2 copies of Summon Limit here, wrapping up our main deck. And then our last list here is Salamangreat. Whew, finally. Man, we were teched out here. We got Gnomes in here, and we got the Foolish Returns. Alright, so we have 2 copies of Ash Blossom and Joy Spring, 1 Effect Veiler, triple copies of Flame Buffalo, triple copies of Nibiru, we have triple copies of Parallel Exceed, 1 Falco, 2 Foxy with 1 Gazelle, 1 Jack Jaguar, triple Spinny with the 1 copy of Sea Archiver, and I have 1 Called by the Grave, triple Crossout, 2 Signet Mining, triple Droplet with 1 Mystic Mine, 2 Desises, triple copies of Circle, 1 Sanctuary, 2 Will, triple Imperm with the 1 Rage and the 1 Roar. Then we have 1 copy of Update Jammer, 1 Underworld Goddess, 1 Transcode Talker, 1 Splash Mage, 2 Sunlight Wolves, 2 Heat Leos, 2 Balinix with the 1 Link Spider. Then we have 1 Heat Soul, 1 Axis Code, 1 Rashtalia, and the 1 Baguski. Then we have 1 copy of Paro, 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone, 2 Foolish Returns, triple Twin Twisters, triple Dimensional Bear, triple Mischief of the Gnomes, and 1 copy of Red Reboot here, wrapping up your chunk of very, very interesting stuff for these videos. Honestly, guys, I think Rogue has got some pretty good stuff going on for here. It's just, obviously, Sprite is the more dominating force, as it should be. So what do you guys think? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you're saying. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of the subscribe button. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace out. Patrons, thank you. Boo!
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.